There we go. Good morning, everyone. I hope that this live finds you doing well and staying safe wherever you might be. I am Ruby Powell-Dennis. I am coming to you the day before Election Day to just check in and share a little bit about what's on my heart and mind as we are heading into Election Day tomorrow, which is Thursday, August 6th. Thank you for being with me this morning. So if you have been following me on social media, we have been on what is now an 8-month journey that will conclude at least the first phase of that journey tomorrow with our primary elections here in Shelby County. I am running for state representative for District 97. And as you can see, I am no makeup on because we are getting ready to head out and put out signs. And so I want to make sure that I am always giving a very authentic view into life on the campaign trail, that it is definitely one where you are constantly working to do everything you can to make sure that you are reaching voters and that you are putting the right structures and systems in place to have a very successful campaign. So I'm coming to you this morning very vulnerable and just sharing a little bit about what my journey has been. And of course, to ask that you all, to make the ultimate ask that you all, if you haven't, make a plan to go out and vote tomorrow. So where are we right now? So the last couple of weeks, we have been at the polls live, checking in and meeting voters. My team, I'm really proud of them. So I want to start with some shout outs to my team from every level of leadership from the top down to say thank you for all that you have done to get us to this moment. I've had the privilege over the last 8 months of working with outstanding individuals from every facet, walk of life across our city, our state, and our county. And so I want to actually, just take a moment and thank some of my senior staffers. I want to start by thanking Jennifer Sharp, who has been our director of communications. A lot of the great things that you are seeing coming on social media, our emails, our graphics, is her brainchild, and she is amazing. So I want to thank her. Renee Bailey, who has served as my treasurer, making sure that all of our finances and everything financial is in place. I want to thank Morgan Monroe, who is our field coordinator, who's been doing an amazing job of making sure that we get people in the right places at the right time, and making sure that we have more than enough coverage of, at our polls so that we are reaching voters. There are other folks. I want to thank Melissa Cochran, Keela Jones, Dr. Kimberly Brown, Tamira Malone, Cabrina Thompson, and others who along the way have just done so much to make sure that the campaign that you see, my candidacy, my platforms, they have been just instrumental in helping me get the word out and to reach voters across the district. So thank you all for all that you've done to help get our candidacy and our campaign to this moment. We have a lot of things to celebrate. So we have officially crossed over 1,000 contributions received from folks. So we are definitely a grassroots people-powered campaign. So we're very excited about that. We are quickly approaching 900 unique donors. Yes, you've heard me correct. 900 unique donors who have given. A number of them are small dollar donors. No gift is too big or too small. So I want to thank our generous donors who come from 34 states and hundreds of zip codes, both within the state of Tennessee and outside the state of Tennessee. I think that it continues to prove that, sometimes we might feel like we are fighting an uphill battle in Tennessee, but people around the country are rooting for us. They are rooting for what is possible in our state. And so I want to thank all of the individuals who have, Facebook comments, constituents who've reached out, direct messages, all the thousands of folks we've connected with via phone calls, text messages. Thank you all. Each and every single one of you are a part of this campaign, and you're the reason why we've gotten here to this moment. I also want to thank the thousands of voters who have come out to vote. We had the chance to pull the data, and almost 9,000, yes, you've heard that right, almost 9,000 people as of the end of early vote have voted in District 97. That is definitely up from the midterm votes that took place in August 2018. We've had over 4,000 Democrats cast their ballots. That was, again, as of the last day of early vote, which is August 1st, who have cast their ballots because they know that this is an open seat. A lot is on the line. And so selecting the right leadership is important. So thank you to the thousands of Democratic voters who have already cast their ballots, and the thousands more who are sending in absentee ballots and who will join us at our 15 polling locations tomorrow on Election Day. So lots of thank yous, lots of just love and light in my heart right now, because again, we could not have done this without you. So where do we go from here? So there are a couple of things I want to make sure that I illuminate for folks about why this election is so important. Why is it so important that you vote in primaries? So tomorrow's election will be to select the Democratic nominee for District 97. That individual will go on and run against whoever the Republican nominee is in the general. And it's important that we not only select, I'm asking you to select leadership that not only is reflective of our district and the many people who live in our district, whether they vote or not, but also selecting leadership that understands that this is the one phase of our fight, and then we have to get into, have a strong candidate in the general running against our Republican nominee, who is going to be someone who speaks truth to power, who has a track record of bringing people together, helping people stay connected, and also navigating the cultural nuances around where we are at this time in our country, these unprecedented times. I believe and still believe and will continue to believe that it's important that we elect an educator to this seat. As we think about Shelby County Schools, Bartlett Public Schools, and a number of the schools and school districts that operate in our district, and the 14,000 employees in Shelby County Schools, the thousands of employees in Bartlett Public Schools, educators represent a very large base of not only the economy in our district, but also the people who just live and work and play in our district. And so educators, this is our opportunity. You have someone who is a champion on the ballot. And so I'm asking you to make sure that you turn in your absentee ballot. Please mail it today if you have not mailed it. Make sure that you put 2 stamps on that absentee ballot. And, if you aren't more comfortable voting in person, please go early to vote tomorrow to make sure that your vote is counted. We are not anticipating lines because from everything I've seen and heard from voters during early vote, our election commission has done a good job of getting voters in safely and getting people out quickly. So I am not anticipating lines, but please go vote early to make sure that your vote is counted. There's a lot on the line right now when we're talking about school reopening plans, keeping teachers and students and families safe. It's important that we select someone who has worked in a school building. If you are an educator, you know what I'm about to say has some merit. If you haven't worked in a school and you're making decisions about teachers, about students and families, there's just some context that you're usually missing. And that having worked in a school building is an important attribute for anyone who is going to advocate and represent educators in Nashville. And so please, please, please make sure that you go out and vote and select someone who has a shared experience with you, who is committed, both in times where, students and teachers are under attack like now, and in times where people have moved on and are not talking as much about our educational system. We want to make sure that, we have a strong champion in Nashville. We had a strong champion in Nashville, in some regards under Representative Coley. And so we want to keep that going, because that's really, really important. And our schools are a critical cornerstone of our community. The other thing that I'll bring up is right now, our census rates in Shelby County are not nearly as high as they need to be. So some of our surrounding municipalities are showing record, completion rates, but in the city of Memphis, we are not. Y'all, that also is impacting our elections. So whoever you select as a Democratic nominee for District 97 is going to be an individual who's a part of our redistricting conversations once that census data is available. I currently serve on the 2020 Census Subcount Committee for our county. And so again, I'm asking for your vote as someone who knows what's on the line and coming down the pike, and wanting to make sure that we have, again, strong representation and advocacy in Nashville, because that census data, those completion rates are going to impact, what financial resources we have, what our representation in our U.S. House of Representatives looks like. So again, please go out and vote, because voting, in addition to completing your census, is going to give us a 10-year runway to make sure that we have the resources that we need long-term in our district to be able to take care of our families, to be able to take care of each other, and to be able to strengthen the infrastructure that we have, so that for years to come, we're not driving over potholes. We are getting new schools built, and we're not having to, constantly look at raising taxes to do that. So that is also on the line. So as you are casting your vote, please make sure that you are completing your census at census.gov, because that is also important. The other thing I want to talk a little bit about, and these are some more recent questions that I've gotten since, we were able to be at the polls, socially distancing, of course, but still be able to hear the concerns of folks. One thing that's come up is people have asked me, well, again, what is the difference between you and some of the other candidates running? And so I want to spend a little bit of time today talking about that, again, because as you're going into the polls, I want everyone to be informed voters and to know who are you selecting for your leadership. So one of the things that definitely sets me apart is my multi-million-dollar budget experience and just my leadership experience working in change management. One of the things I like to tell folks is, you think you know what you're going to do when you're not in a situation, but past performance is the greatest predictor of future success. And so I've been someone who's hired and helped hire thousands of people. I'm someone who's helped steward organizations and institutions through change management, having to sit and make the difficult decisions when we just simply didn't have enough money to pay for all the things we wanted to pay for. And so we had to have prioritization conversations. I'm someone who sat in literally life and death conversations about, if we make this decision, it could have this potential impact and ultimate outcome on lives versus this particular decision. I'm specifically speaking about my time when I was an elementary school administrator, and there was lots of conversations about, how do we keep students safe after Sandy Hook? What does that need to look like? I've sat in those really difficult conversations, and that's what we have up ahead, difficult conversations. And so I'm asking for your vote because I want to bring that experience, seasoned, steady, level-headed, rational leadership to Nashville, because we're going to have to make some really difficult decisions. On August 10th, there will be a special session. Our governor has called a special session to bring back folks to have conversations around protesting and criminalizing protesters and all types of things that, quite honestly, are not going to benefit the lives and put food on the table of people in West Tennessee. And so you want to have a leader who understands, like, going into conversations like that you have to hold current leadership accountable, right? Because their decisions are what has put us where we are. And also have someone who's willing to move the ball down the field and to keep talking with folks around, okay, well, where do we go from here? I do not support the criminalization of civil demonstrations. People riding with chalk on the sidewalk should not be criminalized, right? Especially in a time where we are not getting enough PPE to people who are on the front lines, who are essential workers. There are just simply more essential things that we need to be focused on. And I'm unapologetic in saying that, I don't believe that the special session that's happening, that will be happening starting on August 10th, should be focused on anything other than COVID-19 response. Because there is a government mandate, and there's a reason why government exists. The mandate is to keep people safe and to utilize taxpayer dollars well, to bring back legislators during a pandemic when it is not safe to all be together in confined spaces. Is not necessarily the best use of our taxpayer dollars and time. But again, I'm a leader who's going to be able to say that, and a leader who is already saying that and holding people accountable for their decisions currently. So the other thing that's on my heart and mind today is, on the campaign trail, I've encountered some interesting perspectives on, when we are presented with an opportunity to elect fresh, bold, new leadership that represents where we are right now, not where we were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 2 years ago, but where we are right now. I hear folks talking a lot about, well, back in 2018, this, or 2019, that. We have to talk about where we are right now and what are leaders doing right now to meet the needs of people. As I shared, I'm proud that my team, we were constrained because you can't safely canvass. You cannot safely be on doors talking to voters. But I'm proud of my team that, we opened and closed the polls every single day, 14 days, because we knew that that was the best chance we had, other than calling people on the phone in our text message program, to talk with people about what are the issues on their hearts and minds. And so it's important that we select leadership that is going to show up even during a pandemic. Leadership that doesn't, of course, I'm concerned about the safety of my family, the safety of the people I love and care about. But right now, we need leadership that is going to show up. Everybody can't say, well, it's a pandemic, I can't come around, it's not safe. So I believe that you deserve leadership who is going to continue to be out and be visible in spite of this pandemic, because y'all, this is not going away, right? You deserve leadership that doesn't just prioritize, meetings with folks, right? But leadership that is accessible, that is visible, that is out working. And that is who I am. Anyone who's had the pleasure of working with me, whether it's any of the candidates that are running on the ballot right now, because I've worked with over 10 candidates already, Democratic and nonpartisan candidates who are running not only here in Shelby County, but across the state. You got to have a leader who's already doing the bridge building, the relationship building, not just in private meetings and private rooms where you as a constituent don't have a line of sight into those conversations. You have no visibility into what's being said. You only might know that a meeting is happening. Rather, I am a leader, as you can see, whether it's raining, whether it's lightning, whether it's I'm outside, indoors in my home, I am going to go live and share with you what is happening, what's on my heart and mind, and where I am on decisions. And so I hope that as you are thinking about who do you want to elect as the next state representative for District 97, those are some of the things that you take into account. Because again, we cannot have politics as usual. We cannot have folks who, are going to just do things the status quo during a pandemic and hope to get a different result. I am running because I am a regular woman who every day gets up, puts breakfast on the table for her children, who, checks in with her husband to make sure he's okay, has everything he needs. I check in with my mother-in-law, who is, a teacher, a kindergarten teacher in our school system. And then I go about my day checking in with people all across our state, across our county, across our city to make sure people have what they need, that they are good to go. Because y'all, people are not okay right now. And so you need a deeply empathetic leader who is unapologetic about, leading from a place of empathy, being someone who is intentional, someone who is a listener. And so please take that into account as you head into the polls tomorrow, as you complete your absentee ballot and put 2 stamps on it today and get it in the mail at the post office, not your mailbox. Take it to the post office because we want to make sure that, your vote is counted. And again, that we are selecting leadership that is, 21st century leadership or 21st century challenge has always been my tagline from the very beginning, because I do know and believe that I have what it takes to not only address the issues that are in front of us right now, but as we look ahead to, the other issues that will come up as we begin to unpack the true impact of COVID-19 on our community, that you have a leader who is comfortable with that nuance and ready to work. The last thing I'll leave you with is this. And then I'm speaking specifically to my women. So to anyone else who may not identify as a woman, this is no shade and no disrespect, but I just need to have a conversation with my women and individuals who, are allies around issues that are impacting women. We have to turn out and vote. The General Assembly does not have enough diversity and representation. That makes a difference. You can look at Harvard Business Review articles, Forbes magazine, Fortune, tons of articles and information in the business sector that talks about more diverse teams get better outcomes, that take care of more people, that create more inclusive environments, more equitable environments. And so as you go to the polls tomorrow, I ask that you keep that in mind. We're in a time in our country where we're having lots of conversations around, well, what does it look like around race relations? What does social justice look like? What does, reproductive justice look like? Even if those are not issues impacting you, even if you don't have an opinion on those issues, millions of people in our state are impacted by those issues. And so I am asking you to make sure that you are talking to your networks and you are encouraging people to get out to vote. Don't wait until November, right? Because by then the Democratic nominee is selected, the Republican nominee is selected, and you're going to have much more limited choices on leadership if you only vote in November. Please turn out to vote, because in addition to state representative candidates, school board candidates are also on the ballot. And when we talk about representation in Nashville, we also need to make sure we have diverse representation on our down ballot races like school board, because again, when you have a diverse group of people making decisions, then issues become elevated. Voices are not silenced. The voices of dissension, because just because you disagree doesn't mean you can't still work together. But even the voices of dissension are elevated. And right now in our state, voices of dissension are silenced, right? If you don't agree with the status quo, you're shut down. If you don't agree with what's already happening and you're not willing to go along with it, or you're not willing to treat just symptoms, right? Not root causes, then you're silenced. And so your vote for more women represented, more Black women being represented is also a vote to say that you believe that what is possible in our country, and you believe in the vision that is possible for our state, that we can have legislative bodies that are much more reflective of the demographics of our city, the demographics of our country, and that matters. It's great if we put black boxes on our social media saying that we stand in solidarity, or when Pride Month comes around, we put up graphics and things like that. But how you truly show that you are an ally for women's issues, for the issues impacting Black people, for the issues impacting members of the LGBTQIA+ community, issues that are impacting veterans, issues that are impacting individuals who might not be, who are disabled, people who have different abilities. You show your solidarity by voting for candidates who represent those issues, who are living the experiences around those different groups of marginalized people. And so I'm asking for your vote because, again, if we want to see things to be different in our country, in our state, then we have to send a message with our vote around based on who we select and who we elevate. So with that, I'll close out by saying this. Progress is not locked in. People who look like me have only been full citizens under the United States Constitution for about 52 years. My parents were born in 1942 and 1944, respectively. I'm a third-generation college graduate, third-generation business owner. I've received multiple graduate degrees from universities all over the South. I've been a top leader recognized for every organization that I've worked for, the schools that I've attended. I worked hard because the American dream told me those are the things I needed to do. And I stand here now asking for your vote because it's just that. If we believe and we are standing in solidarity with women, with Black women, with marginalized people, then your vote for me is saying that you are truly an ally and that you believe those things, that you believe that we can get to a world where we're all anti-racist. We are all, operating in places that are not, that are not anti-Black, right? We're not engaging in systems and structures of oppression that marginalize some to the benefit of others. And so your vote is saying that we are moving forward in the fight for human rights and civil rights in 2020. Candidates like me won't win simply because, we run. We win because people like you vote for us. We win because people like you are allies. People like you are donors. You're volunteering at the polls. You're sharing our content on social media. Without you, I won't win. No one is going to come and save us. We have to vote on the issues that are impacting us and rally around candidates who are doing the good work. And I feel like I am that candidate. As I've shared in other spaces, there was not a day where I slowed down. When COVID-19 hit, we simply evolved and adapted our strategies. I'm proud to be the top fundraising candidate for District 97. There are people who've said to my face that they didn't believe a Black candidate, much less a Black woman, would ever be the top fundraiser in a district as diverse as ours. I'm asking you to help me prove people wrong about what is possible, that a Black woman can serve at a high level the citizens in District 97. An educated Black woman with graduate degrees from local universities and top SEC schools. A Black woman who is a mother, who is a professional, who is a community leader and servant, who's active in her church. I'm asking for your vote because I would be disingenuous if I didn't say that your vote matters a lot to me and that I'm willing to, connect with you, talk with you. If you have concerns, please get in our comments, send me an email, or give me a call. I would love to talk with you because, again, this is very serious business. I understand that I'm running to represent 60,000 people in our district. And whether or not those 60,000 people come out to vote in every election or not, they deserve equitable, empathetic, transformative leadership. And that shouldn't be an exception. That should be the rule. So I ask that you go out to vote. Make a plan. Don't wait until 5 o'clock to try and get over to the polls and then potentially be standing in line and your vote not count. Don't wait until tomorrow to put your absentee ballot in the mail, hoping that a postmark will be enough for the election commission to count your vote. Instead, get those 2 stamps on that absentee ballot and put it in the mail today at the post office. Instead, make a plan to go vote as early in the day tomorrow as you possibly can. We have 15 polling locations, and I'll be visiting the vast majority of them tomorrow. So I'll be going live. So if you are at a polling location, please wave at me because I would love to come and socially distance, talk with you about what's on your heart and mind. In the meantime, please stay safe. And if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. I'll talk to you soon, and it's good to be with you.